Carolyn Murray is simply a legend. She's been one of the top journalists here in the Lowcountry for over 30 years. And presently, she's one of the primary news anchors here at News 2. I speak exclusively with Carolyn for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Carolyn Murray, it's so good to see you.
It's great to see you, Quintin.
I appreciate it greatly. Obviously, you're a busy woman these days. You're a news anchor, a wife, a mom, a dog mom, a runner. What's that one word to describe you these days?
Oh boy, multitasker. And I don't know that I do any of it necessarily well, but I certainly do all of it with love. And I try to, think before I do most things. I don't know that I always necessarily do that, but I'm a busy mom, just like, many other parents. I'm busy and I work and I love my job. So, I try to balance it all.
You balance it all. You talk about being a great mom. Obviously, you're a great mom, Louise.
Well, I don't know that I'm a great mom. You'll have to ask me whether I'm a great mom or not. I mean, I know she's an amazing daughter, and I am blessed to hear that word from her, mom. But I don't know that I'm necessarily a great mom. I make a lot of mistakes, but I've got a really wide breadth of people who help me when I make mistakes, and fortunately, she's a forgiving child.
Well, yeah.
So,
I met her at the Water Tower Place back in 2002 when she was just a baby. Remember that?
At the what?
Water Tower Place in Chicago.
Oh my gosh!
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Almost 20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot about that even. That was a long time, right? Because I worked at WBBM in Chicago between 2001 and 2003. So yeah, she would have been. That would have been the year she was born.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Exactly right. You say you make a lot of mistakes. What have you learned from those mistakes in your life?
Wow, which mistake though? I mean, I make mistakes all day long, and I'm always so happy when people are forgiving and I'm granted grace and, have an opportunity to correct those mistakes. But I make mistakes, certainly with what I say on TV, maybe a grammatical error or something else, a timing or something pretty simple. But I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I think that that's what life is. It's about making a mistake and being able to rebound from that mistake. So, and I tell people that, I tell children that all the time when I go to schools. I tell them that as well. Don't be daunted or don't be afraid of making mistakes, because you absolutely will. That is one of the things about life that's certain, is you will make mistakes. The key to life, and I think the key to success, if we'll use that word, is the way you respond to it. That you don't allow it to prevent you from moving forward or from trying again. It's not the mistake, it's what you do after the mistake.
How do you move forward in 2019?
One step at a time? In what way? How do I move forward?
Professionally, personally. Because people look up to you and think you have it all.
No, they absolutely do not. No one has ever said that. And if they said that, they would be absolutely wrong, because I don't. But I am very fortunate in that I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I've always wanted to be a journalist, and I am happy to be able to do it and have been doing it for 30 years now. February of this year actually was my 30th anniversary of television news. And I enjoy it. I love working with very young people who keep me on my toes and who are very forgiving when I don't understand all of the stuff about the Facebook and the Instagram and if I'm friending and, messing this stuff up. So I've got some people who are really kind to me and help me through that kind of stuff in terms of how, the way we communicate changes. And I'm starting to, Quintin, just stretch myself a little bit more in terms of how I interact with people in my community. I mean, Charleston, this is my family. I'm not even going to say family and friends. This is my family. I don't know any place better than I know this place. And so I'm now using my, just my knowledge of this community to serve on several boards and to be even more active in the community, because I love this community and I want to see it thrive. I think some of my connections give me somewhat of an opportunity to see from a lot of different angles and to add my perspective to the conversation of the community. That's real important to me, so I love it.
Conversation, perspective, Charleston. How do you have a conversation about Charleston from the time you grew up here to right now?
How do I have a conversation with
an average person about Charleston right now?
Well, that's such a good question because, as you and I both know, because we have both seen this community change. And so I think sometimes we have to accept that though we love so much of what has made this community appealing to people in terms of its culture, that this is a community that is appealing and therefore will change because people come from different parts of the country. A lot of folks here from Ohio, and they are moving in with their own culture and kind of changing things up for us. And I think that that's something we will just have to become accustomed to and try to hold on to those things that are very important to us. I think that there's room for all.
You talked earlier about, obviously, February celebrating 30 years in television news. You started with, obviously, your days at WCSC.
Yes, I love those days. Quintin, I used to take you home when you were a little boy.
That's true. That is true. Your dad will.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, you remember that? I don't even remember that.
Thank God for good memory.
Absolutely.
And a couple of weeks ago, I went down there right after work from Palmetto Carriage Works, and I went to the old,
and saw our building is down. Oh, I have such fond memories. Very often when people will ask about a level of competition between the television stations, and I just, I just don't have that in me. Debbie and Bill and Warren and God rest his soul, Charlie Hall. I mean, they are people who were amazingly kind to me when they did not have to be, and gently corrected me and made me feel that I should be a part of this industry and that I had something to contribute. And that is something that I will never, ever forget. I try my best to do the same to others. But the way they welcomed me into the fold of journalists is a very big part of my life and a very big part of who I became. So I love those guys. They are my brothers and sisters, as well as people from the other stations. I kind of feel like Dean and I kind of grew up together. But there were people who were just very, very kind to me in terms of, helping me in my career.
You talked about her, I don't know, Dee Crosby.
Oh, Dee. Yeah.
I mean, when you think about her to right now, what still plays in your mind professionally?
Wow, Dee was just solid. She was just a solid anchor. Her memory was incredible. She just knew everyone. And someone else who just really loved being a part of this community. I mean, she just was quick-witted and kind, and we had a relationship. We were such girlfriends, and so in between stories, Dee and I might be looking at fabric swatches, and anyone who knows Dee is laughing now because they knew that she was gifted in terms of design, and so she very often would bring things to work for me to look at. Carolyn, actually she would say, Dolly.
Right.
To be true.
That's right.
To be truthful, she would say, Dolly, I'm putting this together. And her pet name for me, though, was Dolly Girl, which I loved. So, I miss my friend very dearly. She suffered poor health over the last few years of her life, but Dee was a trailblazer. She had that wonderful segment, Tuesday's Child, and just an amazing person. And I'm really sorry that she's no longer with us.
Yeah. Let me turn to Debbie Charter. Obviously, she just retired after 43 years in the television news business. And I used to go down to her house all the time, right there on Wells Court, right after the station newscast a lot. When you look at her professionally, what do you say about her?
Gosh, Debbie was just such just an amazing journalist. Debbie, I loved how worldly Debbie always was. And I don't even know that people even recognize that or celebrated it as much as we should have. Debbie was someone who always certainly cherished what we had in this community, but even looked beyond the borders of South Carolina for news. I mean, just engaging. Debbie was news director at one time, and I just can't tell you how many hundreds of days Debbie and I had our back to each other, she looking in one mirror and me looking in the other as we would do our makeup in between, getting ready for the newscast. She is one of my just absolute dearest friends, and there is never a time that I ever felt as if Debbie would not welcome a conversation with me. I mean, she's just, there are no words to describe how much I love Debbie Charter. Yeah.
You talk about describing. Let me talk to you about a story that's still on the mind of many people here in Charleston, and we're actually going to come up on the 4-year remembrance of this, and that's Mother Emanuel. I was just talking with Ben Doyer of Palmetto Carriage Works. He admired your coverage of that particular news story, having knowing that you have a family relationship with Emmanuel Church. Where are you emotionally 4 years later?
Well, certainly, it's always still very difficult to talk about. But, I think that because Emmanuel Church has served as a symbol of forgiveness, and we use that word a lot when we think of Emmanuel, but I think it is very important that as people we recognize, there are parables in the Bible, and that is exactly to me what Emmanuel has become personally, is that despite that hardship, despite the destruction, despite the pain, the anguish, you can forgive, as difficult as it is. And I think that that is what I have learned from Emmanuel when someone has pulled into a parking space quicker than I, or someone, got the last thing of almond milk out of the container at a store, and I'm using these, descriptions that probably aren't the best things. But when someone feels wronged, if the people of Emmanuel could offer forgiveness, then anything I think that I ever encounter will pale in comparison. And so it has helped me as a human being. It has helped me become more human and more forgiving, and I think more empathetic. And that's what life is about. Certainly we still grieve because we know that those who were killed, they had a lot more life in them. They had so much more good work to do in this community. And it is sad and a shame that they won't be able to do that, and we won't be able to look in their eyes and hear their laughter. But if it is the way that we will become better as a community, then God knows best.
Obviously, like I indicated earlier, you're a journalist, you're a mom, a dog mom, a community leader, an icon.
I don't know about that, some of that stuff, but I don't know who told you to say that, but okay, all right, well.
You obviously write news stories every day here. What is that news story you would write about your future begin with a headline?
Oh, I have to write a headline for my future? My goodness. Well, if I had to look at the way I would be working as a journalist, I don't know, let's say 25 years from now, I would still be doing very much what I'm doing, but it might look a little different. I think I would be doing a show that allowed me to talk about people who were doing extraordinary things in the community, and people who were doing very simple things in the community, because I think both make an impact. So I like hearing stories. I'm a big podcast listener. I'm a podcast junkie. So I like hearing stories about, ways people have figured out to make the world better. And I think that when people allow themselves to hear more of those kinds of stories, it's inspiring. So that's what inspires me, and I look forward to, in some capacity, maybe doing more of those. I did a couple of documentaries last year, and I look forward to doing more of those kinds of long formatted things for people who have the patience to listen to that kind of thing. I don't know, there are only a few of us now who like that, but for those willing to listen, I could see myself doing something like that in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll do it together.
There you go. I know the ratings will go through the roof.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. C and Q.
There you
C
go.
would have to be C first,
That's
because
right.
it comes up first in the alphabet.
Exactly right.
Q and C. No, it'd have to be C and Q.
Yes.
No, that's all right.
That's right.
Youth before
Oh, thank you.
age.
I'm 34 now.
Oh my goodness, Quintin. I think I've known you since you were 6 years old. It was about 6, right?
That's
Oh my
right.
gosh, that's amazing.
Long time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, Carolyn Murray, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Quintin, it was a joy. It was an absolute joy. I think that you have done an amazing amount of work, an amazing service to this community, allowing people who didn't always have an opportunity to speak and to tell their entire story. You give them that. And so I'm so proud of you. You are a gem. We are glad you are here. And we just want you to keep telling these stories close up.
That's right. Absolutely. We want you to stay on the news as well.
All right, another layer of makeup.
6 and 11.
All right.
We want you. Thank you.